Good evening, all. Trust you are well. Tonight, of the big book chat of the book of Alcoholics Anonymous, I'm going to speak on chapter 3. And chapter 3 is more about alcoholism. Most of us were unwilling to admit we were real alcoholics, and this goes for addicts as well, but I'm just going to use the word alcoholics, otherwise it's going to be a double take. No person likes to think he's bodily and mentally different from his fellows. Like today, the people that woke up, hi Vicky, Lee, Sharon, Michelle. No person likes to, if you wake up in the morning at 3 o'clock and you go, and I'm not anti-alcohol, let's just get that on the record. Alcohol is my poison, and I don't like it anymore. And I haven't liked it for 15 years. But if you stand in a queue at 4 o'clock in the morning wanting to wait for tops to open, you've got a serious problem. You may just say, oh, well, Zol Zuma is going to close it tomorrow, but no, she's not going to close it. Not tomorrow. Therefore, it is not surprising that our drinking careers have been characterized by vain attempts to prove we could drink like other people. Hi, Alex. The idea that someday, he will control and enjoy his drinking is the great obsession of every abnormal drinker. I thought after one binge to the next binge, to one prison to the next prison, to my homeless stint of 2 years on the streets of South Africa, that my life would be different. I would be able to drink like a gentleman. That I'll never be able to do. The persistence of this illusion is astonishing. This is what is important with the drugs and the alcohol. Many pursue it into the gates of insanity or death. Hi, Glennis. Many pursue it into the gates of insanity of death. What is our children doing today? So many are on drugs. So many think it's cool to be on this new homegrown weed that lets you fly through Africa while you're sitting at DF Milan Airport. We learned that we had to finally concede to our innermost selves that we were addicts. This is the first step in recovery. The delusion that we are like other people or presently may be has to be smashed. We are different. Everyone here can enjoy a glass of wine, enjoy beer, enjoy a whiskey, and lekker, because I still go to a lot of functions, I give talks, and there's a lot of alcohol happening there. Hi Dale, there's a lot of Lara, there's a lot of alcohol there, but it doesn't bother me because it's my poison. You drink, you go ahead. But I'm not going to join you on this one. I've had too much. We alcoholics are men and women who have lost the ability to control our drinking. I couldn't control my drinking. After my first drink, I couldn't guarantee you where I was, where I'm going to sleep, where I'm going to, what am I going to do, am I going to get home, etc. I got to the point when I was putting sanitariums, the old sanitariums like mental homes, in padded cells and just get jabbed with needle after needle to put me out for 3-4 days and then let out after I detoxed. It was horrifying. But then I go back for more after a couple of months. We know that no alcoholic ever recovers control. That's why sobriety, whether it is for drugs or for alcohol, doesn't really matter. Both are drugs. Is that we can't get to the point of suddenly me, after 15 years of being sober, picking up a drink and saying everything is going to be normal. It will never be normal. Never. I have to stay sober for the rest of my life. That's why it's one day at a time. And the rent is due every day on our sobriety, depending on our spiritual condition. All of us felt at times that we were regaining control. I did. I used to tell my mom, okay, Mom, I'm just going to have one beer. I hadn't drank for 5 months. Mom, I'm just going to have one beer. And my mom, she said to me, Anthony, this is the start of your binge. I was a binge drinker. But the damage that, Gladwin, the damage that I caused in those 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 days, some people don't cause in 10 years. But such intervals, usually brief, were inevitably followed by still less control. I went down the slide quicker and quicker and quicker each time I promised that I would never use drugs or alcohol again. We were convinced to a man that alcoholics of our type, now this is live, Laura. We are convinced to a man that alcoholics of our type are in the grip of a progressive disease. Over any considerable period, we get worse, never better. Hi, Carl, my friend. We get worse, we never ever get better. We are like men who lost their legs. They never grow new ones. Neither does there appear to be any kind of treatment which makes alcoholics of our kind like other men. I know alcoholics, like I was talking on my early program, that are advocates in the High Court, that are top politicians. So it doesn't discriminate. The alcoholic you may see on the streets is because where else can he go? He can't go hide behind a high wall. No one knows what happens behind people's high walls and inside their homes. I can tell you now, there's alcohol and drunken abuse. And like I said, I've got nothing against alcohol. Alcohol had something against me. There's drunken and alcohol abuse and physical abuse in many homes in South Africa tonight. We have tried every imaginable remedy. I used to say, okay, no drinking up until Thursday, maybe I'll have a drink on Friday. Then I'll drink Friday, Saturday. That didn't work. Then I'm only going to drink. And then every time I'd make, with my loved ones, I would make concession and say, okay, I'll only start then. I won't carry money with me. But I knew when I got so bad and I saw pink elephants coming out of the walls, that I was gone, I was over. And this is after being in the drug squad, the real drug squad in Sunup, not the local Zocal nonsense we got today, and in the murder and robbery unit. I just drank myself into oblivion. I was the security director of a large retail store. I had everything. I had everything imaginable that a man could want in his life. And I ended up on a park bench in Hillbrow and on the streets for almost 2 years. Alcohol stripped me like paint stripper. In some instances, there was brief recovery. For those who just joined, I'm reading from the Book of Recovery of Alcoholics Anonymous, 1939. Physicians who are familiar with alcoholism agree there's no such thing as making a normal drinker out of an alcoholic. Once you've crossed that invisible line, you're gone. Like me, gone, over. I'll have to live without alcohol for the rest of my life. Hey, I'm cool with that. I drank enough in my life. Hi, Sonette. Drank enough in my life. Linda. Science may one day accomplish this, but it hasn't done so yet. You know, if someone had to come to me tomorrow and say, you know, Anthony, here's a tablet, take this tablet, you can drink like a normal gentleman, I'd say to him, no, thank you very much. Because I never drank for the taste, I drank for the effect. When I could dance on the tables and sing My Way, Dronk Verdriet, and be gesyp on this side. You know, so no ways. I value my 15 years of sobriety. I don't want to go back to prison. I don't want to go back and live on the streets like a burgie. Because I was a burgie for 2 years. Faithless, hopeless, toothless, jobless, everythingless. Despite all we can say, Many who are real alcoholics are not going to believe that they are in that class. And there are many, let me tell you, many top professionals. And why I'm saying this is because normally the alcoholic people think he's the burgie in the street. No, he's not. He's only part of it. The rest have good homes or buildings, very good jobs, but they're alcoholics. They go to sleep and drunk every night. They lie on the couch drunk every night, and the wife goes to bed and reads the book or plays on Facebook. And I know that because it's been part of my life for 30 years. I know this game. Probably the only thing I do know properly. By every form of self-deception and experimentation, they will try to prove themselves exceptions to the rules, therefore non-alcoholic. A lot of alcoholics drink non-alcoholic beer and non-alcoholic beverages. Non-alcoholic beer and non-alcoholic beverages is for non-alcoholics. Non-alcoholic beverages is for non-alcoholics. Who are we trying to fool? We weren't really tasting, because after a couple of whiskeys, you don't know which whiskey you're drinking. So it's for non-alcoholics. Or we long in that taste. Or we thinking it may be an effect. There is no non-alcoholic. Hi Debbie, my DJ friend. There's no non-alcoholic drink in this world that doesn't contain a percentage of alcohol. Trust me when I tell you that. If anyone who is shown inability to control his drinking can do the right about face and drink like a gentleman, our hats are off to him. Hey, if someone wants to test the theory, I tried to test the theory for years. It never worked. It never worked. Heaven knows we've tried hard enough and long enough to drink like other people. I tried to drink like a gentleman. Yes, in the first drink here. Sorry, I hope you all got your cigarettes today. I didn't happen to get to the shop, so I'm still smoking the... You're right, George. We used to drink there in the cops, huh? Here are some of the methods that we have tried. This book is written in 1939. What has changed? We drink beer only. We limit the number of drinks. Now, I can't tell you I'm going into a pub and I'm only going to drink 2 drinks. Because that is the favorite number of alcoholics, 2. How many drinks did you have? 2. You went out with your mates today. How many beers you have? 2. How many whiskeys you have? 2. They should write a song for us alcoholics about 2. Everything was 2, you know what I mean? It's incredible. My mother used to say to me, I used to get home pissed like a coot. Anthony, how many drinks did you have? I had 2 more. I can't even put the key in the door. I don't even know where my bedroom is. Let alone do I recognize my mother. Because I drank to get drunk. I wasn't born a drunk. I crossed the invisible line. That's all I did. Simple. Never drinking alone. I will never drink alone. Only, yeah, Laura, I'll only drink when I've got company. So make sure I found company. That's so true, Michelle. They make non-alcoholic drinks for non-alcoholics. Yet they say you have to be 18 to buy it. Why? Coca-Cola is non-alcoholic. The last I saw, a 2-year-old could buy it. So you're never going to drink alone. Mom, I promise you, my loved one, my darling, my angel. Husbands say, my love, I'm only going to have a couple of beers while I watch the rugby. At 10 o'clock, he's lying on the couch, pissed. That happens Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or whatever. comes home from work, I'm only going to have one drink. I've had such a stressful day in my life, I'm just going to have one drink. I used to say that. A bottle later. Never drinking in the morning. That's when I knew I hadn't only crossed the line, I'd fallen into the line. Because I remember driving one morning and I was so hungover. Thanks, Anshin. Anshin says, hi, Anthony, from a cold Uppington. Thanks for your videos. I'll share them all. Thanks, Anshin. Really appreciate that. God bless you. And driving around this bottle store, for people who know Cape Town, it was in Milnerton, Solly Kramer's. And it was 10 to 10. Remember the bottle stores in our days? We were actually disenfranchised when we were younger. I'm 56. So our rights were violated. Our constitutional rights were violated, like these Black Lives Matters, stupid, retarded, communist terrorists say. Arseholes. Because bottle stores opened a bit, earlier today. And I remember driving around there having a panic attack. My hands were wet. My heart was going at like 800 beats a minute. I couldn't even get Jacob Zuma to count it because he can't count. Bless his soul. And they opened up at 10, and I went into that Solly Kramer. And I went straight for the fridge. And I got 6 beers, and I went to the counter. And this is so vivid, and this happened over 25 years ago. And the woman at the counter was taking, in those days they played with coins, was taking it out the Standard Bank packets and putting it into the till. Eventually, I just left more money there. I didn't want any change, and I went to the car. And this is what used to happen to me in the morning. I used to drink. My shakes were so bad that I used to drink. And the first alcohol, beer, whatever I took, I then puked it out and then drank the second one just to stabilize my hands. I was a chronic alcoholic. And like my friend said there, how we used to drink in the police for free. It was virtually for free. And you drink and you drink and you go work. Alcohol blew away my sporting career for the people that know me. I had a very good sporting career. I come from a very good family. Doesn't matter where you come from, what color you are, how rich you are, how poor you are. If it's going to eat you up, it's going to eat you up. Drinking only at home. Oh my God. Let's stay home for a while. Never having it in the house. How else are you going to drink if you don't have booze in the house? You're going to go to the pub and sit there till 12 o'clock, get in your car drunk and drive home like I used to do. Because when you're driving drunk and someone says to you, Anthony, let me drive, you piss. No ways, brother. No ways. I'm Nicky Lauda. I know how to drive. I'm not drunk, brother. I've only tried 15 minutes to put the key into the ignition, but it's not working. I must be in a different car. Never drinking during business hours. To drink all the time, man. Because I had to top up every 3 hours like a heroin addict. Otherwise I couldn't function. Drinking only at parties. How many people go to parties and the wives think, oh my God, we've been invited to this party. Is my husband going to get drunk? Is he going to fight? Is he going to cause shit? Is he going to grip another woman? Is he just going to be an arsehole? I was invited to parties twice. The second time to apologize. Switching from whiskey to brandy. Now, they know brandy in South Africa, and I've got viewers here from around the world. Brandy is kind of like boxing gloves. Brandewyn and Coke. Huh? Drinking only natural wines. Who am I trying to fool? But I've tried them all. Mom, I'm going to drink Castle Light. I won't get drunk. Cold, this coffee's cold, my bro. Or I thought in those days it was, I think Hansa Pilsner. Hansa, yeah. Yeah. Drinking only natural. Agreeing to resign if ever drunk on the job. Taking a trip, not taking a trip. Swearing off forever with or without a solemn oath that I'm going to give up, I'm going to stop. Family has an argument. Father or mother. What is very prevalent today and in the last couple of years, very prevalent, is when a spouse, a partner, mother and father, who've been married for years, and the partner dies, the other partner seeks solace in the bottle. And they drink themselves to sleep. That is very prevalent. People, we must watch in South Africa today. While the unemployment increases, the alcohol and drug use increases. Taking more physical exercise, reading books. We can add the list ad infinitum. Oh, sorry to hear that, Renee. Drunk driver, 21-year-old, killed my husband because of alcohol. He was drinking at O'Hagan's. Oh, Renee, I'm very sorry to hear that. Mersha, I don't know what you're asking here, what the point is. I'm reading out of recovery books of Alcoholics Anonymous. We do not like to pronounce any individual as alcoholic, but you can diagnose yourself. Step over to the nearest bar room and try some controlled drinking. Try to drink and stop abruptly. Try more than once. It will not take long for you to decide if you are honest with yourself about it. It will be worth a bad case of jitters if you get a full knowledge of your condition. Okay, leader, that's cool. White label, white lives matter. Okay, so all white people are going to drink white label, and all black people are going to drink black label. No, that's cool, leader. I agree with you. You know, if they want to get that pathetic, you know. But they love their black label. Hi, Millie. There's no way of proving it. We believe that early in our drinking careers, most of us could have stopped drinking. But the difficulty is that few alcoholics have enough desire to stop while there is time. I could have stopped when I had everything. Because I went into recovery, into Alcoholics Anonymous, when I was 25. I stayed for 2.5 years, and then I decided I was healed, and I went back and drank. And that's when all the problems in my life started. A man of 30 was, this is a story in it here, a man of 30 was doing a great deal of spree drinking. He was very nervous in the morning after these bouts and quieted himself with more liquor. He was ambitious to succeed in business, but saw that he would get nowhere if he drank at all. Once he started, he had no control whatsoever. Sorry. Wait. He made up his mind that until he had been successful in business and had retired, he would not touch another drop. An exceptional man, he remained bone dry for 25 years and retired at the age of 55. After a successful and happy business career, then he fell victim to the belief that practically every alcoholic has, that his long period of sobriety and self-discipline had qualified him to drink as other men. Out came his carpet, slippers, and a bottle. In the 2 months he was in hospital, puzzled and humiliated. He tried to regulate his drinking for a while, making several trips to the hospital in between. Then, gathering all his forces, he attempted to stop altogether and found he could not. Every means of solving his problem, which money could buy, was at his disposal. Every attempt failed. You know, I attempted to stop alcohol when I was at the top of my career, in the police and in business. I'd reached the very top. And my honest intentions was to stop. I only opened up the RAEL organization and the RAEL rehab and sober living in Worcester for one reason. There were actually two, but one main reason was that my nephew killed himself, who was an alcoholic and an addict. He put a rope around his neck. Thank you. He killed himself. And I saw a family break apart. And the family that broke apart was my family. Because David was the first grandchild of the whole family. And it broke us to pieces. And when I sobered up 2 months after David's death, 2 years after that, I decided it was just God incidents all the way that we got a small holding. I could not afford the small holding because I drank all my assets out. I drank everything that I owned. I drank away my shoes. I once sold my shoes for alcohol. Before being in the top units of the police and just for the people who've joined in the last couple of minutes, and a security director of a large retail store in South Africa. And one day I was walking and I'd lost everything and I needed alcohol. No matter what it was, I needed alcohol to function. I did not need alcohol to get drunk anymore. And I took off my pair of tackies and I sold my tackies so I could buy a cheap bottle of wine. I had everything. And I thought I was bigger than the game. I will do that, Marty. If anyone suffers from alcoholism or just drinking too much, there's no shame in that. Presidents of the United States were alcoholic. Winston Churchill was an alcoholic. That carried on and did their thing. I know many top businessmen that are alcoholics and addicts in this country. I know many top politicians that are alcoholics and addicts in this country. The problem is people don't know what happens behind private doors. Just felt phone on into some busy on this. People don't know what happens behind high walls. Don't be afraid to ask for help. The ego kept me out of it. There are a lot of people who fear stopping because they can't think of life without alcohol, of life. How am I going to have fun if I don't have alcohol and drugs? You can. So that's what we try and teach them here at RAEL, is a new life. It's not about the alcohol and the drugs. It's about enjoying life on life's terms. You'll have a much... I can be honestly tell you that when I started using alcohol, it was so much fun. I had a jawler. And then alcohol took over my life. It destroyed me. It destroyed 25 years of my life. And today, being 15 years sober, there but for the grace of God, guy, nothing else. In some circumstances, we have gone out deliberately to get drunk. I used to. Feeling ourselves justified by nervousness, anger, worry, depression, jealousy. These are the things that can lead us down that old garden road But even in this type of beginning, we are obliged to admit that our justification for a spree was insanely insufficient of the light of what always happened. We now see that we began to drink deliberately instead of casually. There was a little serious or effective thought during this period of premeditation. Our behavior is absurd. If I think of what I did drunk, would I do it sober? No. It would break me apart. And just to close off on this passage before I just go through the messages and check, because that's quite... Many people think that they have no chance of being sober. Many people, or many wives or husbands, go to bed tonight and their partner is drunk. That isn't the life we want to live. But there is help. But you must be willing to go to any lengths to get that help. If you're not willing to go to any lengths and sacrifice, you'll carry on drinking or drugging. Like our children. Many of our children, and I meet up with parents all the time, not burning coal. Many of our children, the parents don't even know that the children are on drugs. The role model of when we are, and again I say there's nothing wrong with having a bit of alcohol, if you're not alcoholic. There's nothing wrong with it. It's like being a diabetic. Cut down on the sugar. My life has taught me many things in life. And I had a beautiful father. He's late today. He's a big 6'4" man. And I watched him one day when I was 6 years old hit my mother. My dad worked for the same company for 43 years. But my dad was an alcoholic. My dad was a weekend alcoholic. He drank from a Friday, when he got home from work, until a Sunday afternoon, and that was it. But he caused more damage and pain in that time. But when my dad was sober, he was the most beautiful man. So when God changed my life, and He did change my life, I'm not going to compromise on my belief. It doesn't make me an angel, but that's who I believe in. I believe in God. I walked out of my house one morning, and there was a guy, Marius Lalwa. He was a black man, and he was with our family for 18 years. He was my best friend. And he would normally light the joint in the garage and have the beer ready first thing in the morning. We had a small painting business then. And I came out, walked past Mom, greeted, needed my alcohol, needed my joint. And I took a drag of the joint and I took a sip of the alcohol. There was never an intention that morning to stop alcohol and drugs, nothing. And I had the Smirnoff Spin, and I left so much in it, and I put it on the counter to continue smoking the dacha, and then I would finish the alcohol. And I couldn't pick that alcohol up again. I couldn't pick that alcohol up again. And that day on the 28th of June 2005 was the last drink or drug I ever had. And I pray it will stay that way until the day I die. I've seen too much pain. I've been in pain. Alcohol took me on trips that I never wanted to go to. I did not want to go to the streets for all those years. I did not want to beg and put my hands in rubbish bins for food. I did not want to go to prison. I did not want to break a family. I broke a family. But I've made amends. Today I'm sober on my small holding to look after my mother. People have helped me. People have cared for me. And I will go out of my way anywhere, anytime, at any place in this country to help people. I've been very fortunate to be invited to various countries around the world to share my story. It doesn't make me something big or egotistical. it's very humbling to be invited to these various countries to go and talk. America, Australia, Bali, into Portugal. I've just been very blessed because I wasted 25 years of my life. I can see the flowers now. I can see in my rehab when the youngsters get well, and I'm not promoting my rehab because most of the people in my rehab are very well sponsored, like no other. Because I want to see people get sober and families get united. That is my goal in life. And that is the goal that I hope to take to the grave. That I've finished and left a legacy. My daughter was born 2 months before I got sober. And I promised her mother that my daughter will never see her father drunk. I've managed to keep that promise so far. She's 15 and I'm 15 years sober. To have my mom with me, looking after my mom with dementia, with 2 nurses, it's an honor, it's a pleasure to look after my 87-year-old mom in her days that are maybe coming to an end. You never know, only God knows. So thank you everyone on this wall. I'll just go to the messages quickly. Okay. For those who would like to contact me at any stage, I'll give you my number is 071 592 3165, and my email is info@rael, RAEL.co.za. God bless you and thank you for listening, and hopefully next time it will be a bit earlier. But, when you're running the farm and you've got a lot of people in recovery, something can happen at any moment. So you first have to attend to that before I can attend to my social media and my emails which follow this. God bless you and thank you for listening and thank you for helping me stay sober. God bless.